Hey guys, and welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Natasha Martinez, and this is the daily show where we give you all the latest news in the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us today is Mark Ellis.
Welcome one and all to the best movie news show in the entire galaxy. My name is Mark. Everybody look at your watches. It's 9:03. We are starting right on time. On today's episode, New Mutants get some details. There's a murder on the Orient Express, but that's not the biggest secret. The biggest mystery on today's show is what Perri knows about friend requests.
Ooh, so mysterious. Also joining us, Perri Nemiroff.
There's no Perri on this panel today. I am just the third Mark. Let's just call me Mark for the rest of the show, please.
And we also have Mark Reilly joining us.
Happy to have you here, Mark. It's good to see you again. And Mark, how are you? Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Always a
dude,
pleasure.
We got a table full of Marks here. It is the coolest name. Mark is the, I believe it's the Greek name for the god of war, which, as you can clearly tell, I am built for battle. All right, we are going to get to this beautiful rundown here in just one second. But as I mentioned at the top of the show, we have a new trailer for Murder on the Orient Express, which one of the other Marks on the panel alerted me to the fact this was not the first trailer, but this was the first footage I've seen of Murder on the Orient Express. And I got to tell you, I'm pretty excited about this movie. The look, the feel of it, the landscapes that we get, it looks exactly like what I thought it would be, which is a exciting mystery with a great cast and a lot of twists, a lot of turns. There's going to be a lot of clues, Perri. They're going to be left throughout this movie, none of which a dope like me is going to pick up on. So I'm going to be completely surprised when we find out that Johnny Depp is not the killer. That's my early bet, is that Johnny Depp is definitely not the killer. I'm going Michelle Pfeiffer. How about you?
Give yourself a little more credit. I don't think there's that much reading involved, so you might be able to figure some of it out.
It's based on Agatha Christie, who I'm a huge fan of back when I was able to read.
All right. Well, good luck to you. But I saw that first trailer. We couldn't remember if it was a trailer or a teaser trailer. And the one big thing that I had remembered from that is the Imagine Dragons song. And I was hoping that would go away now, but it didn't. It's still in there. And I give them a little bit of credit because it does add a lot of energy and momentum. And I love the song. So it's catchy and it makes me hyped for the movie.
You just don't think it felt in the same universe?
It feels a little funny. And you bring up the look of the film. The visuals are so on point and they're so rich, and the cast of characters, they're so exciting, and I love the feeling that I already feel kind of confined to the train, and then you add that song, and it clearly does not match up with the time period, and you would think that a movie like this would have a really great, maybe majestic score, so I'm just really eager to hear that.
Maybe they just didn't show us the score, Reilly. They're not showing us all of the cards that they have in their current hand. Did the Imagine Dragons take you out of this vibe, or are you feeling Murder on the Orient Express?
No, it takes me out. It did it for the first teaser or trailer, or whatever it was, and then at least this one, it didn't fully go into lyrics and singing. It kind of had the music in the background, kind of punctuating the visuals, which are fantastic. Look, this thing looks beautiful. I liked Johnny Depp in this. I love Johnny Depp when he comes out and doesn't have to, walk with a swagger and have rum and be weird. I like it when he does just something straight up and has the scar, and he looks great. The cast looks great, but yeah, the Imagine Dragons song kind of, it's not contemporary. It's a contemporary song for this period piece. Give me some score. Just give me pull some different scores like you do. Like, I don't know, can the Inception theme work? They played that a bunch of times. Why not just bong and as you're going down the train? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But it looks great.
It looks great. There's a little bit of me that sees this trailer and is like, this is just a bunch of famous people playing dress up and hamming it up, but it feels very stage play to me, which I'm not necessarily opposed to. I just, I want this story to be as engrossing and to be as engaging as clearly all the actors and actresses were making this movie. So Murder on the Orient Express, I know it's one that a lot of people are pinning their hopes on to be one of the best movies this fall season. Do you think it's going to live up to that, despite your lack of affinity for the use of Imagine Dragons?
Yeah, I'll listen to that song outside of the movie, but I don't want it anywhere near the actual cut of the film unless it's over the end credits. But I do think this is going to pan out really well. Really look at that cast, look at that list of talent. And one of the coolest things about this trailer is even with all those like crazy famous names that we've known for years and years, Daisy Ridley really does command the spotlight. And it's not just because, I'm looking forward to her next thing after Star Wars. there is something about her presence that just instantly captivates you. I really think this is going to be one of the best movies of the end of the year, and having it come out around Christmas time seems spot on to me.
I'm glad she brought up Daisy Ridley, because watching this trailer, I got to admit, a good chunk of this trailer was spent with me remembering how funny those Josh Gad, Daisy Ridley, Judi Dench Instagram stories were. So, Reilly, does this trailer, does it up your anticipation level for Murder on the Orient Express? Or is it...
Yeah. Sorry, the visuals, they just kind of were like, wow, okay, this looks beautiful. This looks beautiful. I am a huge fan of Kenneth Branagh when he directs, and I love it when he acts, and I love that he's the lead and directing. He always knocks it out of the park for me. Some people don't like Thor, and I thought he did a fantastic job. Everything he's touched, directing-wise, has been a home run for me. I love that. So with this, he gets to play in a pretty big sandbox here. He has a lot of talent to work with. He's got a studio behind him. We got these great visuals, like I said. Just get rid of that song for the next one. Come on, go to your boy Patrick Doyle, a fantastic composer who did the definitive Thor theme. Look it up, Patrick Doyle. He's going to score this. That's Kenneth Branagh's guy. So let's get a little music there, put it in there, get us in the period setting, get us in the train, and so I can figure out who did it. It's Daisy Ridley. She did it. I'm going with that. She did it. That's the different take. Hot take.
Going Pfeiffer all the way, and I love Kenneth Branagh's accent in this trailer. All right, let's move on to our first official story today. Hey, Natasha, these mutants are teenagers.
Hey, in an exclusive Q&A over at Variety, Stacey Snider, chairman and CEO of 20th Century Fox, got to talking about the state of the industry when dealing with so many superhero movies, which led to her to target one superhero movie in particular that's on the Fox slate, New Mutants. Due to be released on April 13th, 2018, Snider offered some interesting insight into how she expects this film to stand out from the pack. New Mutants is about these teenagers who are just coming into their powers. It's like watching mutants go through adolescence, and then they have no impulse control, so they're dangerous. The only solution is to put them in a Breakfast Club detention / cuckoo's nest institutional setting. It protects the people on the outside, but it's strange and combustile inside. The genre is a haunted house movie with a bunch of hormonal teenagers. We haven't seen it as a superhero movie whose genre is more like The Shining than We're Teenagers, Let's Save the World. Mark, what do you think about the description of the New Mutants movie?
I think if you're combining The Breakfast Club, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Shining, and a haunted house movie, good luck with that, but it does sound like a lot of fun to me, because I really have always enjoyed the superhero movies where it's somebody who's discovering their powers for the very first time, how they handle that, especially if it's a bunch of them all at the same time, even going back to something like Perri Nemiroff's Power Rangers, where you're all kind of doing this at the same time, and it's like, oh, look what I can do, look at what you can do, now I guess we have to go fight this evil. But something that I always really responded to with X-Men is the struggle between mutants reconciling the fact that they are different than normal human beings and how human beings are going to respond to them. So do you err more on the side of a Magneto and you're like, no, we got it, we are the new dominant species, let's just go by evolution and let's abide by the food chain here? Or do you go more Professor X, where it's like, no, we have to teach them that there's a better way and that war is not always the answer? So I like all of this. If you give me a haunted house vibe, I'm probably going to sign up for it, Perry. What do you think about the description that Snider gave for New Mutants?
I am very into that description, but as you pointed out, throwing out 3 titles like that just has my head spinning in a whole lot of different directions.
It's a lot to put in the Vitamix.
It does make sense. I mean, I understand what she's going for, but that's a very bold move to drop titles like that when talking about a highly anticipated upcoming movie. But I really liked everything I've heard about this so far, and this is another instance where that cast just has me really hyped, and I'm so excited to see what Josh Boone does with that. You know, he directed things like Stuck in Love, and that movie, he wrote that too, and that movie so clearly got what teens in that particular situation were going through, so it makes me think that he might be able to nail that here while also embracing that kind of crazy haunted house vibe and just the whole superpower idea too. So I think of all people, he might be a great director to kind of combine everything like that, but make it something more in line with the Breakfast Club, and not just saying, oh, it's like a horror spin on a superhero movie.
Yeah, Josh Boone I always thought was a fantastic choice for this because of his ability to work with adolescent actors and actresses. Reilly, the thing that it's not really a concern, but I think that there is a lot of just kind of being a studio head in these quotes And one of them was that it's about how we have people discovering their powers, and it's never really been done before like this. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's been done like this. There's been a lot of superhero movies where they discover their powers. You can think of like the all-time classic ones like your Spider-Man or your Batman, but then you also have stuff like Chronicle or even like Legion, which she brought up, that it's like these are people who are learning about their new abilities. I keep going back to the fact that I just enjoy storylines like this, but you're a horror guy.
Yeah.
How is this going to factor into a haunted house kind of scenario?
You know, if I go back to some of the comments made by Josh Boone and some of the reports we heard that it was kind of a horror movie, a horror spin in the X-Men universe. But going to your point, yeah, we've seen this. I mean, we saw it in every X-Men movie. I remember X2, we had Iceman, he's kind of dealing with his powers, at least dealing with his parents. And then I think of X-Men Days of Future Past, where they had the military mutants cordoned off, and they're dealing with their powers. So we have kind of seen it. Now, Breakfast Club, that gets me excited. Now, because now there's going to be a little bit of humor to it. I think actually she is right on. I think she's throwing out these titles on purpose. I think they've had these conversations where they go, it is kind of like we're putting these new mutants in. They're hormonal teenagers. She made a point to that. And it's like Breakfast Club. Okay, so there can be some humor there. But then the haunted house stuff, The Shining, that all deals with, like, are there things out there? Are we going crazy in my mind? What is that? So are they going to play with, is the mutant power only in my mind? But then in this long interview, she brings up Legion. That dealt with that subject already. Am I crazy or do I have powers? So I'm wondering, it does sound like a mixed bag, but I am really excited for it. Haunted house? Yeah. If we're talking in a confined setting with mutants, what's the antagonist? And like, is it a maze that they got to get out of? Are they, you know, it just gives me a lot of excitement.
I can't.
That's what I was
the
wondering, though.
Yeah.
Like, you bring up some other movies where it does have that kind of setting, but even when you think of X2, there was so much more going on outside of just that one setting.
Sure.
So my hope is that they narrow the focus and we really do get just Breakfast Club / Cuckoo's Nest type of setting with these characters in it. Obviously, there has to be something going on outside of that, but you know, if Logan proved anything to me, and I guess Deadpool too, those movies just felt like they had such a narrow focus, and the characters turned out to be so much richer for that, rather than, you know, and I'm not saying that superhero movies can't have a lot going on. If anything, the Russo brothers proved that you can do that and you can do it well, but I really just enjoy the idea of being stuck in a confined space with a certain amount of characters.
Yeah, and you also bring up Deadpool and Logan, which you know that Fox wants to capitalize on not only the success of those movies, but some of the momentum that they have from telling an original feeling tale within a larger superhero landscape. Reilly, do you think that New Mutants is going to play well in concert with Logan and with Deadpool? I mean, I thought what Deadpool did was a great job of showing us this singular character, but also giving us some taste of the X-Men. So do you think New Mutants is going to be a nice addition to this?
I think if Josh Boone sticks the landing and really does focus on maybe the Breakfast Club and that kind of angle with some horror elements, you get a very unique and different X-Men movie like you did with Logan. Logan was the last chapter, a Western. It was great. It was a great send-off for Hugh Jackman. Deadpool was the Merc with the Mount, out of there, out of this world, funny, graphic, violence, all these great things. They both worked in their own separate ways. Now, New Mutants, like I said, if they can stick that landing and give us that different feel, that different take, it's going to be a nice, I don't know, it's going to be a nice little trilogy of X-Men movies that aren't connected, but that are fun to have and are very different. I think they have the right, at least movies, these examples, I think they have the right movies in their mind for this. Just like Logan maybe did with like Shane and some of the references they made there where they went into that, doing that Western take.
Yeah, let's not make any mistake about this either, is that art inspires art sometimes. So
Sure.
I have no doubt that when we were hearing about Spider-Man Homecoming coming out, which is Sony and Marvel, so not associated with Fox at all, they saw that they were going for a John Hughes vibe. And they're like, you know what? That's probably a good way to sell our movie, that if you're going to go with this coming-of-age story, then we can throw some Breakfast Club in there as well. So you're going to have a lot of elements to New Mutants. The most exciting part about this story to me, April 2018. It's not that far off, guys.
Yeah.
All we have to do is survive like 5 or 6 more months. and we get to see New Mutants. Very pumped about that. All right, Natasha, the next story is about a movie called Deeper. I'm hoping it's a shark flick.
No, I'm sorry. According to Deadline, Gal Gadot is in early talks to join Bradley Cooper in the MGM thriller Deeper. White God Helmer Cornel Mundresco is also attached to the project, which comes from a script by Max Landis. The film follows a former astronaut played by Cooper who was hired to take a submersible to the deepest parts of the ocean.
See?
I know. I guess it could be a shark
Could be
movie.
sharks.
There's sharks.
I don't know, but listen to this. As he makes the descent, supernatural events transpire as the vehicle nears its destination. Gadot will film Deeper before suiting up again for Wonder Woman 2. Perri, what do you think about the movie Deeper starring Bradley Cooper and Gal Gadot?
I am intrigued. I have been intrigued since I've heard about this. I think Max Landis can be a little bit of a wild card, and also when you only have a log line and so little information to go off of, really, who knows what these situations that Bradley Cooper's character is going to find himself in, what they really are, if it's supernatural, if it's being in that space just getting to his head, because I've seen a couple different very short descriptions of this story, and I don't really know what direction he's going to go in, but for Gal Gadot, this could be a really great project for her to take on. I don't know how big her role is going to be. Again, everything I've read about this story seems like it is focused on one main character, so maybe she has a small part, but considering she is just going to be slammed with DCEU work, maybe this is the perfect opportunity for her to squeeze something else into that crazy busy schedule.
Stop beating around the bush, Perri. We're going to be dealing with ghost sharks, okay? We're going to be going to the depth. We're going to see ghost sharks. The Max Landis angle to this is interesting to me because Max Landis is a very creative guy. He's got very specific visions what he wants to do with the movie, but I think you take a premise like this and you already sold me, so we don't need to get too, weird or out there with this. If you have a guy who was an astronaut, so he comes back. I like your take on this, that it might all be psychological. May even be like how DiCaprio was seeing his former wife when he wasn't sure she was really existing or not in Inception. So maybe that's
the first one that crossed my mind when you started describing
just as well, because you're not sure if it's in your mind. It's like, wait, hey, honey, what are you doing 20,000 leagues under the sea? You know? So maybe she is somebody from his past. Maybe she's playing the queen of the ghost sharks. I don't know. But with talent like this, with a cool premise like this, Reilly, this sounds like it could be 49 meters down.
Ooh, 49. Yeah, we have that sequel coming.
That's the trilogy I just completed.
I just want Queen of the Ghost Sharks movie. That sounds better than this.
You're the writer.
Hey, yeah, I am the writer. I'll get right to work on that. No, I'm excited for this. I'm more interested. The Gal Gadot casting for me is I want to see her outside of Wonder Woman and in a bigger role, not just Fast and the Furious showing up in a small role. I want to see her do something that gives more acting, and this sounds like it can be that. I hope it's not. You brought up Inception, and then we brought up Shutter Island. I hope it's not she's the wife who passed on and Bradley Cooper is seeing her because her supernatural elements in a submersible. That I want her to be in the action. I want her to either be up top, talking down to him, helping him out, or down there with him. We don't know more than this. So it's interesting. I like the take of supernatural elements in a submersible. That's interesting. I mean, look at that graphic. That's pretty cool. Do you see the ghost right there? The ghost is looking in at Gal Gadot. That's scary.
I like that.
That's scary. That's what I want to see.
And she's just smiling for she has no idea. There's a ghost.
Yeah, she's in trouble. She has no idea what to look behind you, Gal. Look, don't go in there.
Okay, so 47 meters down. Yes,
sure.
I bring this movie up a lot in my daily life, but it's like one of the things about if you're at a sea that depth is that you might lose your mind a little bit if you lose oxygen. So I don't know what happens to you in outer space. I don't know what happens when you're 47 meters down. I went snorkeling once. That's about it. But if you go really low, maybe you are seeing stuff and you're not sure if it actually exists or not. So I'm liking where this project is going. Max Landis, let's do this. All right. This is one of the most exciting parts of the show to me. It's because Natasha is going to tell us what's coming out in theaters this week, and then Perri is going to divulge how she felt about one of them. Let's do it.
Yes, this is the big tease we've all been waiting for. All right. First, the LEGO Ninjago movie is coming out this week. The battle for Ninjago City calls to action young master builder Lloyd, a.k.a. the Green Ninja, along with his friends, also secret ninja warriors. Led by Master Wu, voiced by Jackie Chan, they must defeat the evil warlord Garmon
It's Garmadon.
Garmadon, voiced by Justin Theroux, who also happens to be Lloyd's dad. Okay, we also have friend requests coming out this week. Laura is a popular college student who graciously accepts an online friend request from Marina, a young social outcast. To everyone's shock, Marina takes her own life after Laura decides to unfriend her. Soon, a disturbing and mysterious video appears on Laura's profile, and her Facebook contacts slowly dwindle. When her friends suddenly begin to die one by one, the frightened young woman must figure out a way to stop the carnage before it's too late.
Okay, so let's open with the LEGO Ninjago movie. This is something that actually surprised me how much I enjoyed this movie, because I didn't have a whole lot of hype going into it, but I found it very funny. I found the adventure a lot of fun. I mean, it's, more or less you can kind of see where the story wants to take you, but I thought that the relationship between estranged father and son worked. I liked the Lego aspect to it, so I was on board with the LEGO Ninjago movie. Perri, you got to see that.
I did. I saw it and I reviewed it, and I thought that was a spoiler. It's not. The cat's in that really cool poster, so there's a cat in the movie.
There is a cat in the movie, and the cat is fantastic.
I'm allowed to talk about that. But no, I kind of liked it overall. It doesn't feel entirely fair to always compare movies to other movies that came before it in a particular film franchise, but you can't help it to a degree. So while I had fun with the LEGO Ninjago movie, and I liked some of the lore, and I really liked the world building, I love the city and I love the 6 ninjas, it just pales in comparison to the LEGO movie and then the Batman LEGO movie also. It almost feels like it's losing a little of the appeal to me, which is weird because I grew up loving Legos and I've been so hyped about getting more LEGO movies, and something about this one just didn't click quite like it did on the last two. And some of the jokes to me felt like they were just kind of retreading the same territory. But again, animation is incredible. And it's fun. Even though I'm picking on it, there's no denying that I was entertained from start to finish.
I think kids are going to love it. It does have like a Kung Fu Panda kind of vibe to it, which I actually appreciate about the movie. Reilly, is this the right play for LEGO?
I'm a little... I wanted a break from LEGO movies. I love the first. I love the LEGO Batman movie. And now I'm like looking at this going, that's 2 LEGO movies in 1 year. And I'm like, I just need a break. I don't know. So I'm not really too interested until I saw the cat poster. That cat, I'm like, wait a minute, how's the cat factor into this?
I wish I had seen that before the screening.
Well, we're going to let the poster speak for itself.
Yeah, well, well done, marketing team, because now I'm a little bit more intrigued. I will see it. I do want to see it because I think for me, they knocked it out of the park with both LEGO movie and LEGO Batman movie. I enjoyed the hell out of both of them. So if I get some laughs like I did with the first two, then and there's a cat. Are they fighting it like dragons? Like cat dragons?
You're going to have to see the movie, but right. I think it's a nice selling point. Now,
sounds good.
I'll also ask you about friend requests. I know that you're very sensitive to who accepts your requests on Facebook. You've been through a lot.
I have. That person unfriended me. This guy, you know who you are.
This guy.
You unfriended me, man. I have no idea why.
He's calling you out, person.
Yeah, you know who you are.
Is this
John,
a good horror movie premise?
If that is your real name. No, I don't know who unfriended. No, I want to see it. But I want to see it only until after I hear Perri's response. Okay. I do, because look,
I want to see
horror. We're the horror people. All 3 of us here.
We enjoy horror movies.
We enjoy horror movies over there. Everybody enjoys horror movies over there.
We like a good scare.
And look, I got to support my genre. I mean, I'm wearing a hat. I mean, look at this. I mean, I love my horror movies. Perri, you right? Are we there yet?
We are officially there now. Perri, my first question to you is friend request. Is it kind of like metaphorical, like Darren Aronofsky's Mother, where it's like actually about something else the whole time and not a commentary on online world at all?
I wish it was that, because what it is about, it's so stupid.
Oh,
it's so stupid.
Oh, man. Unfriend.
Yeah.
Well,
hold on. Let me go to Facebook.
If you do see this movie, watch out when you unfriend someone. It's all bad news. But you guys know that I'll go see any random horror movie, whether it looks really good, whether it looks really silly, and it might just be a fun, quick, fleeting watch. But I do have a threshold, and Wish Upon fell way below it, and this is right there with it. I had a little more. Wish Upon was so bad that I had so much fun in that communal viewing experience laughing at the screen. Friend Request might be a little worse because it's not as bad, so I didn't have as much fun laughing at it, but I will tell you that there were a lot of unintentional laughs happening throughout that entire screening. I think one of the things that is upsetting me most about some of these movies that are coming out about teenagers and about the kids in this movie are in college, but about young adults with technology in horror settings
Morons.
is that, well, yeah,
A whole lot of them.
One, they're definitely morons. The decision making in this movie is not half as bad and offensive as the stuff in Wish Upon. That behavior was disgusting to the point that I could not wait for the main character to die. That's not the same. And the lead in this, she's the one from Fear the Walking Dead. I forget her full name,
yeah,
but
yeah.
she's pretty good. The material is absolute garbage. Some of the worst dialogue I've ever heard. But these movies just don't give young adults with social media and with technology any credit whatsoever. One of the things that drove me nuts in this movie from start to finish is that they keep showing the main character's friend count, and it keeps going down. It's just...
So they keep getting unfriended, thus feeding the beast.
Like what happened to me?
It is about unfriending
thing.
and how you might make someone feel. But it's just when you include something like that in the social media world with people around you dying, one is so clearly more important than the other that it becomes laughable and stupid, and it makes you hate the characters.
Okay, look, you clearly have some issues with Facebook that we don't need to get into because I think this movie looks like a treat. Natasha, Wendy, have you guys ever been unfriended to the point where you're like, damn it, they should make a horror movie out of this?
Absolutely not.
No.
I know there's like those apps. I don't know if they have it for Facebook, but like for Instagram, where you can check when people unfriend you and who exactly it is. And I'm like, why would you do that? Why do you care?
People just gotta know.
Like it
I don't
creates
know.
like unnecessary drama.
Exactly.
Because
so.
like I literally I was going through my Instagram because then I was like, these accounts I don't remember following them, so I like unfollowed some of them, and then I get a message, why did you unfollow? I'm like, because I wasn't interested anymore. It wasn't a friend. It was like a company or a product. And I was like, well, harsh. Now I'm not going to buy into your products, and maybe they're going to come after me now.
Everyone needs to calm
evil.
down on the social medias, guys. Okay?
Yeah, it's like a Black Mirror episode. We just keep getting more and more excited about who's following us on what. I don't follow that many people on Instagram. I'm sorry, I don't really care about your pictures. I'm glad you enjoy mine. I don't care about your pictures. All right, let's move on to a couple trailers, and this is buy or sell. So we're going to say whether we buy or sell said trailers, and by the way, it's at Mark Ellis Live.
A new trailer has been released for Blue Sky Studios' latest animated movie, Ferdinand. The movie tells the story of the title character, a big but friendly bull who wants nothing to do with bullfighting and will do everything he can in order to get back home to his friends and family. John Cena voices the lead alongside Kate McKinnon, Gina Rodriguez, Bobby Cannavale, David Tennant, and yes, even Peyton Manning. Ferdinand arrives in theaters December 15th. Reilly, buy or sell the new trailer for Ferdinand?
I'm going to buy it for my niece. I think she's going to enjoy the hell out of this movie. For me, I mean, it's cute. I don't want to sell it and offend the movie because it looks cute. It looks really... Sure. I'm going to sell it, I guess.
You were a big Ferdinand guy, I heard.
You know, and that's what I'm going to get to. I'm going to sell it because I grew up with the book and my grandmother read me the book, and it just seems like they've obviously filled out the story because there's nothing I remember. Like every single scene in this movie, I don't remember from the book. So, but like I said, it comes from a great studio in Blue Sky Animation, Ice Age, and they did the Peanuts, which was a nice surprise. So maybe this will be a good, surprising, funny, heartwarming movie. John Cena looks like he's having fun, so that's good. But maybe I'll take my niece and decide then.
Yeah, I'll buy it. I mean, the bully doesn't want to be a bullfighter, so good. Congratulations. Yeah. Go do something else with your life. I think it's going to be one of those fish out of water things where somebody doesn't really feel like they belong anywhere, and then guess what? They do belong somewhere, and it's going to warm your goddamn heart. Peyton Manning in doing a voice excites me. I like that they kind of took a chance on John Cena. He looks like he crushed it at the lead, and the fact that David Tennant is doing a voice in anything, I'm going to get excited about. So I'll be very courteous, and I will buy the trailer.
Yeah, I'm going to buy it also. It's a light buy, though, and it's not that I don't think that the Ferdinand movie has a chance of being great. It is kind of cool that it's coming out later in the year. And, you know, you brought up that there's 2 LEGO movies this year, so I've been trying to figure out, you know, what is going to get an Academy Award nomination. You know, you have Coco, you have 2 LEGO movies. It just seems like there's a much smaller pool to work with this year. So I'm hoping that this winds up surprising, but as much as I love John Cena, I don't think he belongs in something as himself, in something that's billed as a trailer. So I responded much more strongly to the story trailer rather than John Cena in this trailer telling me how much he loved this story and this idea. But I think the animation looks good. The story looks sweet. I'm hopeful.
I think there's a whole lot of people out there that see John Cena and they're like, I'll see anything that guy does. So
if they had called it a featurette, my reaction would have been different. But I thought this was going to add on to what I liked from before.
It's all about semantics with Perri. Hang on, let me unfriend.
Oh,
You're off.
nice callback.
I'm going to come back in a hoodie tomorrow. You better watch it.
Evil is trending.
Hang on. Let me have Perri right back. Just to be safe here. Okay, let's do another trailer. What do we got next?
Bleecker Street has released a new trailer for Breathe, the upcoming drama that marks the directorial debut of Andy Serkis. Based on a true story, the film stars Andrew Garfield as Robin Cavendish, a young man who in 1958 contracted polio and became paralyzed from the neck down, requiring a respirator to breathe. The movie also stars Claire Foy as Cavendish's wife and is set to open in theaters on October 13th. To learn more about the movie, head to Collider.com to read up on the review from this past year's Toronto International Film Festival. Mark, buy or sell the new trailer for Breathe, directed by Andy Serkis.
Yeah, Collider.com has a lot of cool coverage based on all the movies. They did get a chance to check out at TIFF. So if something played at TIFF, go to Collider.com if you're curious about it, because they have a lot of cool coverage there. For this trailer, it's a big buy for me. I think that this has shades of Oscar written all over it. The fact that it's Andy Serkis' directorial debut is very exciting to me. And Andrew Garfield looks like he's picking up from where Hacksaw Ridge left off, and he's just pushing himself in a different way. Once again, it looks Academy Award caliber, and I say that for his performance. I also say that for the movie as a whole, because it's got shades of The Theory of Everything. You know, I mean, this is about somebody who had the whole world in front of them, and then they were faced with something that they could not evade, and so they had to embrace what's happening and try to make the best of it, and for the other people that are afflicted with polio. So it really is as much the story of the respirator as it is this individual couple and their lifelong love for each other. It's got everything that I think people want to see around this time of year when you talk about award season. Perri, how do you feel about the trailer?
I definitely buy the trailer. I had seen a previous trailer for this, so I kind of knew what I was getting into, and I buy this one just as much as I did the last. I'm really excited to see what Andy Serkis is capable of, because clearly he's got more coming up, so I want to see what he can do as a director. And then the two of them, and more so Andrew Garfield, because I have not seen a lot of the work that she is very highly acclaimed for right now, but Andrew Garfield just delivers time and time again. He did get his time to shine last year because of Hacksaw Ridge, but even then, I don't think he got as much award recognition as he deserved.
No,
because
it was kind of like divided, because he was great in that. He was also great in Silence.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's just give the guy credit for being really good in 2 movies.
Yeah, I wish that we were all giving Andrew Garfield a little more credit than he's even already gotten, because I'm not saying that we've completely overlooked all of his good work, but this looks like something else. Adam Chitwood's the one who wrote the review out of TIFF, and in some of the basic reviews that I've read, it seems like people are really responding to this story, and it's very positive, as in, like, the story and the way it's told is very positive. And the one thing that Adam pointed out was that it didn't have stakes, which I can kind of understand, and I don't know if that's a big turnoff for me, because I can be a sensitive moviegoer. So if I saw something like this and it devastated me on top of what the story is already about, I might walk away really bummed, whereas if it is largely a positive approach to that story, I think I'm going to walk away inspired. I hope to.
Mark Reilly, do you think that Eddie Redmayne and Felicity Jones from Theory of Everything, do you think that this year's version of that is going to be Andrew Garfield and Claire Foy?
I mean, it's a good comparison. It looks, yeah, well done, sir. I'm not unfriending you.
Thank you.
Nice callback. Look, I'm going to support anything that has Andy Serkis involved, and for him to make a directorial debut for something like this, a period piece, heavy on the acting, sentiment, something based on a true story, that's fascinating to me. I mean, it's like, why this guy who is known the geek world over as Caesar and Gollum and in Snoke, and now this. I'm in. Big buy for me. The trailer looks great. I didn't see the first trailer, so this gave me a lot of story, and I don't need to see much more. Theory of everything, yeah, the comparisons are there, and Andrew Garfield looks like he's just nailing it again. I'm hoping that we do get some Oscar love for this, just based on the trailer because of the talent involved, but I am looking forward to seeing this for sure.
That's right. So buys all around. And quick note, if you guys have ever wanted to save a clock tower, if you're ever worried about the Earth's gravitational pull in the future, or if you just want to know more about the curiosity that is the power of love, make sure that you guys join us this coming Wednesday at ArcLight in Hollywood for our Back to the Future screening, September 27th at 7:30 p.m. It's going to be a Q&A with some of your Collider favorites, plus me. And then we have Back to the Future. We're going to screen it at a meet and greet at the bar area afterwards. We did this with Jurassic Park last month, and it sold out like that. So make sure you guys get your tickets right now. You can go to Collider.com and pick them up while they still remain. We're very excited about it. Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies. It might be my favorite non-Star Wars movie of all time. I love this movie. I have never seen it on the big screen. There's so many great moments of pure movie magic in that flick. Very excited to share that with all of you guys this coming Wednesday. Let's do it. And we also have TV Talk is going to be up at 11 a.m. today, an all-new episode of that. And Heroes is daily as well, so keep an eye out for that. Jedi Council is going to be up a little bit later on today, where we talk Star Wars stuff. And then tomorrow there's a new Schmodown dropping, so be on the lookout for all that good stuff. Without further ado, we are going to move on to Mailbag, but I do want to remind you guys, at the end of this show, we're going to save some time for live Twitter questions. So go ahead and start tweeting us right now at Collider Video, and you guys can email us anytime, collidervideo@gmail.com, and we might read your mailbag on the show, like what Natasha's about to do right now.
Annie writes, with the divisive nature of Mother dividing the audiences and critics and also bombing in theaters thus far, I did notice that Paramount stood by the release of the movie. I saw a lot of debate about the movie being original, and it got me a bit worried. Will this reaction to the movie scare off studios again for making original features? With Baby Driver and Get Out coming to mind, not all original ideas are always doomed, so hope we keep getting them. Thanks for taking my question.
Annie, it's a great question. I think that, first of all, I'm really interested to see what Mother does at the box office this weekend, because you're right. It made $7.5 million with its big opening weekend. I think it might even top that, because so many people are talking about it, and they're like, well, now I got to go investigate this movie for myself. Mother is an original movie, for sure. It's hard to compare it to other original movies because Mother is original. It's also a very metaphorical piece that is going to be sold as one thing and then audiences get something else. You didn't get that with Get Out. You didn't get that with Baby Driver. A lot of times you make original content, something like Wind River, and it's like, no, they sold the movie properly. So I think marketing factors into why Mother was so disappointing to a lot of general audience goers. I found it pretty, at least I could appreciate it if I didn't love the experience of watching it start to finish. So I got enough out of it. Perri, what do you think about Annie's question?
Yeah, I have two very different sides of this issue in my head right now. So the marketing thing was a pretty big problem, and I find that a little upsetting, because I know a lot of people saw a trailer in front of it, and I watched that trailer eventually, and it was definitely tailored to appeal to people who might want to go see it, and that's not fair. It's not fair when movie tickets cost so much, and some folks out there have to decide what movies they're going to see in a given year, and then they decide to pay for this, and they don't get what they were promised. That is not okay, and that also paved the way to that F Cinema score. They basically gave themselves that score by mismarketing it, because people are going to have stronger negative reactions than they might have had they known what they were getting into. So there's that end of it. And then there's what this question is kind of going for, which is the idea of, I love that Paramount took a risk on such a wildly original idea. It is an extreme movie, and I give them a lot of credit for going for it and for standing by it right now, whereas I don't with the marketing stuff. But I have a feeling that even though $30 million was spent on Mother, and I don't know if that came out of Paramount's pocket or if it came out of Aronofsky's company, Protozoa, but I don't think that this is going to have an effect on future Get Outs and Baby Drivers, because I think they're so far apart, whereas those movies, I don't want to just narrow them down to being crowd pleasers, because sometimes people will say popcorn flicks and then they don't mean much, but those we're going for something completely different than I think this was. So I think that studios are going to know extreme, realistic right now if we can try to make original content that's more in line with those.
Yeah, we also say, you know, and I blame the studio for marketing purposes somewhat, Reilly, but, you know, I remember watching both those Mother trailers that came out when we talked about it on Movie Talk. You could smell something was up. Okay, you knew this was not going to be like a straight conventional horror movie, and maybe if you're just a general audience goer, you don't see a whole lot of trailers. You're not going to be as in tune with. Wait a minute, this looks like really weird. You knew this was going to be a weird Aronofsky movie. Like you could kind of smell something off.
Yeah, and it's for the film, for what we do, we know we're getting something from Aronofsky, but. Perri, to your point, when they're marketing it like a horror movie, putting it in front of it and making it like appeal to that audience, and they don't know it's a Darren Aronofsky movie other than name and like, oh yeah, he did that other movie, and they're gonna go and be tricked, that's when I can see the F cinema score. For us, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna walk in and see the guy who did The Fountain, the guy who did Black Swan. I'm looking for something different, and I have to see this movie for with my own two eyes, because from what I'm hearing around the horn from people, F cinema score or not, I got to see this movie. But to address the question, I'm so glad that they brought up Get Out and Baby Driver. Those are two very different movies that did very, very well in theaters. So I think people are taking Mother into consideration, or studios are taking into consideration and looking at Get Out and looking at Baby Driver, and you even saw Paramount's release statement saying, look, we stand by our decision here. This was our Netflix movie. It does well on Netflix, but I saw you cringe there, Perri. I agree with you. Don't bring Netflix into this.
It just seems like nowadays everybody uses Netflix or any streaming service as an excuse.
They're hiding behind going, that's our Netflix movie. You would have, like, they're basically saying, you probably would have enjoyed this if it was on Netflix. And it's like, would you?
Because it probably would have been free, because I pay for Netflix every month so I can watch Family Guy.
Someone else also asked me, what if someone else had directed this? What do you think the general response would have been? And I think that having Aronofsky's name attached to this probably sets certain expectations that were either met or not met. I mean, we go into it knowing what he's done in past films, and there's a lot of people watching the show right now who are very familiar with his work, but some folks out there just buy a ticket to a movie because they feel like seeing a movie that they saw in a trailer for whatever reason, or they feel like seeing Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, it's got some pretty famous people in the movie, too.
Kind of famous, yeah.
You know, so I think that, the marketing wasn't perfect. I could smell something was up with it, but I do encourage people to go see Mother, because I think it's a good movie. So check it out. It's a very different movie, and it's very original in a new original way that we haven't gotten with originality, even in original movies before. So check it out. You go see it. That's your homework.
Yeah, I'm going to go see it. And I encourage everybody, if you want original movies, if you're saying we don't get enough original movies, well, go see the F Cinema Score ones to support it. I mean, I know that sounds crazy. You're cringing again, Perri. Look, I say you go and you decide for yourself.
I never want people to feel obligated to go to see a movie that they're not interested in, because I feel like we've gotten that in a Twitter or a mailbag question before, where someone had asked, should I see this movie to support original filmmaking, even though that does not appeal to me. I do not want to see it.
Yeah.
That's
if you don't want to see it, I can't make you see it. I mean, if you want to support original cinema, but this doesn't do it, yeah, I mean, save your money.
Especially with something like this, though, because I'm with you. I liked most of it, where I did give it a mostly positive review. I was very intrigued by the first half, but there's stuff that happens later on in the movie that could be very, very upsetting to people. So I am not going to encourage anybody to see that, where that imagery could stick in their heads in a really negative way.
Yeah, look, if you're curious about it, go see Mother. If not, save your money for Geostorm. You live your life. All right, let's go to some Twitter questions, and we'll call it a day. Wendy, do we have two good Twitter questions to close us out here on this lovely Thursday?
We do, and I'm totally saving my money for Geostorm. Okay, this first one comes from Nolan Scream, who writes, if Murder on the Orient Express is a success, do you think more Agatha Christie adaptations could be greenlit?
Absolutely. I mean, you're talking about one of the great mystery writers in history, so I think that it could be a trend that we saw even with like John Grisham in the 90s or Michael Crichton, where, hey, this one thing crushed it, so let's take every other property they have had their hands on. But with Agatha Christie, I think it'd be welcome. I know that Clue was kind of a take off the board game, but also 10 Little Indians. Clue is, to me, a classic. I know a lot of people disagree, but I don't
Where's
want to
John
remake
Roca?
Clue, but if we have other Agatha Christie properties that we could get into, I'm on board. How do you feel?
Sure. I mean, and there are some Agatha Christie movies in development, I believe. I'd have to look it up, but you know, it's kind of like talking about Mother when it bombs and our original movie's now dead. If Murder on the Orient Express gets big, you know, I just pick the right one, pick a good story, pick a good cast. You don't have to, it's not Agatha Christie novels, I believe. And this is a reboot or a remake of an older version of a film that already has a brand to it, aside from Agatha Christie. I don't necessarily think if this movie blows up, I don't think they're gonna go like buy all like they, you know, when they buy all the New Mutant things because X-Men work, they're gonna buy Agatha Christie. I hope they just pump the brakes and not just try to copy something. I don't know. That's my take.
'Tis the way of the industry.
Yes,
if this movie makes a lot of money, yeah, we're going to start to cover a lot of Agatha Christie adaptations being developed. I'm not saying they're all going to happen, but if this movie makes an insane amount of money, studios just can't help themselves.
I'm on board, man. Let's get more mysteries. I like a good mystery because I never guess them until the end. All right. One more Twitter question, and we done.
Okay, this one comes from Chris D'Onofrio, who writes, it seems like a lot of people, a lot of people feel that the new It isn't scary, and are they failing to realize that horror is subjective?
Okay, Copster, stop using fake Twitter handles to write your questions in. I have heard that complaint. I had that point, too, is that I thought it was great. I thought that there were plenty of good scares, and it just wasn't next level scary where, you know, after I saw The Ring or The Exorcist or even The Conjuring, I was like, I went home that night. Paranormal Activity, definitely. Lived by myself and I saw Paranormal Activity, and you go home and you're like, I'm not sleeping tonight. Didn't happen with it. Like, I was pretty sure there wasn't a clown in my closet, you know? So that's fine with me because I like getting sleep, you know? And I enjoyed the movie so much from the coming-of-age aspect, but also the horror elements that it did bring. So it was not the scariest movie ever. I jumped in the theater a couple times, so I got what I wanted out of the movie. How about you?
It's subjective. Horror is subjective. So what scares you might not scare me, and vice versa. It scared me. It did. There were wonderful moments. I think I look at the entire package. The reason it scared me is because I was so invested in the characters. So their own personal demons, that is scary. Not just the clown. What was going on with some of the characters was awful and scary in real-world ways. Now, scary clowns, yes. There were moments that I jumped. They were a little heavy-handed on some of the big, loud noises to try to like goose you into jumping, but I was okay with it. I was into that whole movie, and I said this in my tweet after I saw it. I had my trash, and I walked down this long hallway with a blinking light because the bulb was going out.
Yeah.
And I went, yeah, I'm not okay, and I'm out of here. I was unnerved. I was scared. I enjoyed the hell out of the movie. But some people are saying, no, it wasn't scary. It's like, great, fine. I mean, that's your opinion.
Perry, to date, Josh McCouga has had 6 nightmares based around scary clowns. How many have you had?
I have had none, but I'm a bad person to answer this question. Reilly,
Yeah,
you know what I'm like in haunted houses.
Oh my God. Please go back and watch the Scary Farm footage we did last year. She walks through the haunted house.
Stoneface.
People jump out and she's like,
well, the production design is
at
quite
that.
nice in here.
yeah, they go, boom.
I mean, I'm with you. Paranormal Activity is probably the most recent movie that I was laying in bed at night looking out through my bedroom door into the hallway, and I was waiting for, you know, a light in the hallway to flick on and off really quick. But I just don't get scared in the traditional sense where people go and they expect to have nightmares or expect to react really big to jump scares. I mean, he also sat next to me my first time seeing it. You know, I see Pennywise do crazy, scary things, and I have a big freaking grin on my face. That's just how I react.
Yeah, I
but
giggle.
The more important thing is what Reilly brought up. The whole movie, I was afraid for the characters. And I think, in my mind at least, that is way more important than me going home with nightmares.
I think that that's important for everybody, is that movies want to send you home with nightmares, but if for no other reason than because we care about all the other characters. Well done, It. Congratulations. Mother, That's a little more subjective. All right, thank you guys for joining us on today's episode of Collider Movie Talk. I want to thank the crew and the panel of panelists up here with me, all the marks. First up, Mark Nemiroff. Where can everybody find you?
I like that. I got to actually start thinking about my Halloween Twitter handle name. Ooh. So October's coming up. If you have suggestions for that, tweet me at @PNemroff, because that has to change. Also, watch out for Collider behind the scenes and bloopers this Saturday. I don't know if I want to spoil what it is, but it's epic. We released some of our anger and frustrations, and it was way too much fun to shoot.
She handles a haunted house like Bill Belichick. Reilly, you handle a haunted house like Don Knotts.
Wow, okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. How do you follow that? Yeah. Find me at Reilly Around on Twitter, Instagram. Big shout out to Christian at C22. Look at this. Ooh. Got a nice hat. You'll float too. I really appreciate it, Christian. Check out at C22 on Instagram. You can see their hats. This is awesome.
All right, Natasha Martinez. Where can everybody find you when you're not researching paranormal ghost sharks?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @NatashaLexis_.
And last but not least, Wendy Lee Zaney, braving the traffic to get here today. You made it here in one piece. We're glad to see you.
Luckily, yes, because when it rains in LA, no one knows how to drive. You can find me yelling at other cars in traffic, and on Twitter at Wendy Lee Zaney, and on YouTube, the Movie Couple channel.
I am merely Mark Ellis. You guys can get tickets to my upcoming New York City comedy shows during Comic-Con at markellislive.com. Friendly reminder, if a clown offers you something from a sewer, probably don't accept it. And in the meantime, hey, am I wearing the same shirt in this fit? Let's find out. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.